So Shams reports that Joel Embiid is considering shutting down the season with surgery. Oh really? Why is this even a question? Their season was screwed months ago. But 2 weeks ago, Daryl Morey was like, oh, we feel that this team has a real shot. We've made our path to win harder, obviously, but we still think this could be a special season. What? That might be the most out-of-touch thing I have heard since Nico Harrison was like, yeah, Luka Doncic? No, I think we'd rather have Anthony Davis. I mean, the Sixers aren't even in a play-in spot, and if somehow they crawl to the 8th seed, you beat the Cavaliers or maybe the Celtics? No, Embiid's a mess. Paul George is now known as Podcast P. Oh, and if you want more proof, the last 77 years, only 2 teams outside the top 3 seeds have won a championship. The 95 Rockets and the 69 Celtics. Both were defending champs. That means if you aren't a top 3 seed or a defending champ, you have 0 shot. So hey, Daryl Morey, you're not going to be the 8th seed non-defending champ to make history. But that's not even the worst part, not even close. This situation gets 10 times worse. So back in 2020, it looked like Al Horford was washed. Turns out, he just didn't fit in Philly. Still productive like 5 years later. But at the time, they wanted to dump his salary, so they traded Al plus a first-round pick to OKC for Danny Green. That 2025 pick is top 6 protected. And at the time, people were like, Embiid's in his prime. It'll be a crappy low pick. Nope. This year, Philly can hand OKC a top 10 pick in a loaded draft. Oh, and they'll guarantee it if they go with Daryl Morey's plan of going to the play-in and then losing in the first round, then giving up a great pick. That would be a disaster. Why would you not add like a top 5 kid to this roster? I mean, they already have young guys, 24-year-old Tyrese Maxey, who's all NBA level. Jared McCain could be an all-star someday. Justin Edwards and Adam Bowen are huge hits in the draft. Plus this top 6 protected pick. Oh, the ceiling there? Well, the ceiling is number 1. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but Philly actually would have an outside shot at Cooper Flagg, and that's not hype. If not, there is so much talent in this draft. So with that at stake, how could Morey say this could be a special season 2 weeks ago when it's obviously not? Well, there's a chance that Morey knows this could be it for Joel Embiid. Last week against the Nets, for the first time in his life since becoming the man in Philly, Embiid was benched in the 4th quarter. Knicks center Nick Claxton was beating Joel down the court over and over, creating an advantage. Embiid's offense just whittled down to like little mid-range jumpers trying to draw a foul. Philly's actually better with him on the bench, so Nick Nurse made the call. And Embiid was so upset he refused to speak with the media. And the crazy thing is, nobody knows what's going on. Seriously, like imagine if Steph Curry was only playing like once a week, and when he did play, he was terrible in offense and defense. He was getting benched in the 4th quarter, and the Warriors just weren't talking about it. That's actually what's happening. This would be the biggest story in the whole NBA if it was Steph Curry. So now we are forced to guess what happened. Well, last year, Embiid was leading the NBA in scoring, but in late January last year, he fell against the Warriors, and Jonathan Kuminga beat Draymond to it and landed on Embiid's knee. Clearly, he's in pain. It hurt his meniscus, which required surgery, but Philly announced, we're debating on 2 plans, either bring Joel back early or let him heal all summer. But because he was playing so well and because they had title hopes, Embiid rushed back. Probably not smart, but he's got all summer to chill. Or not, because he chose to play in the Olympics in Paris, even though he took this risky option to return for the Sixers. Why? Well, it never got a chance to fully heal, and now this season is screwed. Are the Sixers afraid to tell us what's really going on because they know we'll all connect the dots? They know that we'll all say, why did you risk his long-term health and bring him back last year? And Embiid knows we're all gonna say, why did you play in the Olympics? Because it's all about you? So you could get that Olympic glory? Oh, just forget my team and my fans. Yeah. So instead, the Sixers and Embiid are just refusing to explain the details when we know what's going on. So a local Philly paper had to ask doctors what the right approach might be. If Embiid's considering surgery, okay, what's the outlook? Those doctors recommended about 1 year recovery. A year. And if that's true, it would mean that Embiid would screw this season and next season, all so he could ride it out last year and win himself a little Olympic gold. Congratulations. No wonder he won't come clean. And this is the problem with Joel Embiid. I mean, normally guys don't get hate for being injury prone. It's not their fault. But he's surprisingly unlikable. You would think for somebody who smiles this much, he would be a fan favorite, and he used to be, but people have turned on him. Injuries are one thing, but do you remember when Tyrese Maxey called Embiid out last year? A report said Maxey accused Embiid of being late for everything. Well, do you think that a guy who is late for everything is really gonna attack his rehab like Kobe Bryant? Or is he just gonna kind of go through the motions? No wonder he's always injured. But when will he take things 100% seriously? When it's time for him to get a new contract, or him to win an MVP, or him to win a gold medal? So it looks like when it's about Embiid, he's all in. Everything else, not so much. Now, of course, I don't know him personally. I'm not in those rehab sessions, but this is at least the perception around Embiid. But I do not agree with the perception around Paul George, because I've noticed it's super common recently to dunk on PG. Criticisms are he plays like crap while getting paid a max contract, has put out more podcast clips than made field goals this year, out of touch comments to the media, and never actually won anything in the NBA despite being considered elite. And okay, I get some of that, but what has Paul George actually done here? I mean, I don't care about all the stupid comments, okay? That's the danger of having a player podcast. As soon as you suck, everyone's gonna blame the podcast. I mean, it's funny that like actual basketball players respect the heck out of Paul George. Remember a couple years ago in the draft, there were like a ton of kids who said their GOAT was Paul George? And Kevin Durant was like, yeah, if I was to design an NBA player, he'd look like Paul George. But fans cannot stand him. I honestly think it has everything to do with the podcast. But we knew that he was hurt. Paul George has actually been one of the low-key injury-prone guys for years. Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. He is on that level, but Philly still gave him this max contract. We all knew this could be an issue. Is it his fault? What, do you want Paul George to be like, oh, actually, can I make less money? I have some injury issues. No, of course not. Everyone would take the max, okay? I mean, even Kobe Bryant, who is supposed to be like the opposite of this Paul George reputation, yeah, he took the max when he was way over the hill with the Lakers, which hurt the team. So I don't blame Paul George. He doesn't deserve the hate. But Embiid and this front office definitely do. Because if they don't tank now, it is second to only the Mavs giving up on Luke in terms of stupid front office decisions. But the Spurs have a great front office, and they could get another top pick. So I looked at how realistic it is to actually pair Wemby with Cooper Flag.